on picking a topic for my speeches, I decided to pick one that I felt indifferent about because we couldn't be biased in our first speech. However, throughout the research and time spent on my topic, I've developed a stance that I feel very strongly towards. I didn't care about refugees, especially Syrian refugees, because I didn't know anything about them and it didn't affect me directly. Until I saw the little boy in the back of an ambulance, covered in dust and his own blood, battered and bruised from the airstrikes in Aleppo. From that point on, I felt very passionate about how much help the Syrians really need. I try to remember worries I had when I was 5, like what was the best juice box to drink, when my favorite cartoon was going to come on, and when nap time was, because that was my favorite. However, children like Omran, the 5-year-old in the back of an ambulance, have to worry about a lot more. They have to worry about when their next meal is going to be. They have to worry about how they're going to be safe from the airstrikes and bombings, and they have to worry about being attacked or killed at any time. That's no way to live as a 5-year-old. They have no safe place to go to or a place to call home because it's been taken from them. Now, according to Fox News, his family made it out alive with him, except for his oldest brother, who was 10, who died a few days later in the hospital. I believe that the U.S. should allow more Syrian refugees into our country so that people like Omran don't have to lose their family. Now, Syrians need help, but many Americans think that they don't really need help. They're just trying to find a way to get into the U.S. to attack us, or they're terrorists. Now, even though not all of them are terrorists, like I said, anybody that's an outsider we view as a terrorist or could potentially be a terrorist. So, therefore, we cannot let Syrians into the country because they could hurt us. That's the way many Americans believe. After 9/11, we've cracked down a lot on who we let into our country, and we especially watch the Muslims very closely. Ted Cruz states that the thing is that every terrorist attack we've had since 9/11 has been legal immigration. And according to the Daily Signal, there have been approximately 93 terrorist attacks or plots since 9/11. But those few people or those few groups that did that shouldn't get to ruin the opportunities for others. Now, Americans that think this way, I believe that they don't put themselves in the Syrian shoes. I believe that they don't think about the horrors and terrors that are going on over in Syria. Now, I would like you all to take a second and think. Think about your families, think about your friends, think about your safety, think about your homes. Think about what you would do if you were refugees stuck in their lives. Hopefully all of you would want to get out to safety. Hopefully all of you would want your families and friends to get out and find a place to seek refuge while there are bombings and airstrikes going on. Now, what if no other country would let you or your family in, though? No matter how much you beg and plead and just sell your case to the country, they believe that you're terrorists, so they ignore you. That's essentially what we're doing to the Syrians right now. Now, if we let them in, they'll be like us. They'll have to work for a living. They'll have to pay taxes. But the difference is between them and us is they'll know what true horrors are like, whereas we only know from the stuff we've seen on TV. Now, the way they live is no way to live. They're stuck in buildings because they're afraid that if they go out, they'll get attacked or killed, or they'll be caught in a crossfire, or they'll be bombed. They have constant worry, and they deserve a better life than that. U.S. citizens need to realize that Syrians need our help. Refugees would like a safe place to go home when theirs have been taken from them. We do not know how truly lucky we are when we have brave men and women out fighting on other soils for our safety so that we can sit in this room and not be worried about bombings or airstrikes or attacks. This ensures our safety, but other countries aren't as lucky like Syria, such as Syria. So none of us know what it's like to be in the front line or the middle of a war. Yes, we've had war on American soils, but we haven't been alive for that. So the Syrians know what it's like. They need to escape the terrors that us Americans can only dream of. And until we're in their situation, we'll never know the true horrors that they've experienced. So I would encourage you to spread the word. Talk to others, even if you don't know them, and then maybe they'll do the same thing, and eventually it'll create a web, and we can make a difference. Now, we have pride because we are the greatest country, we're the best in the world. Well, I believe we should start proving it and helping other less fortunate countries when they really need it. Thank you.
Do you know the current political situation in Syria?
I do not. I tried to look up Trump's viewpoints, but all I got were quotes about terrorists and how we need to kick everybody out of our country. So I didn't really find anything. Teresa.
situations where refugees that come to the U.S. they take advantage of our system, like the welfare system, like Audrey was talking about?
I read a couple cases where they get like apartments for less money, but that's about all I found. They have to pay it back eventually, but that's all I read about.
So are you saying should let all refugees come over to the U.S.? Like how would we determine like who comes over and who doesn't?
Well, we'd still have the screening system, so they'd still have to go through the process, and once they get here, I think we should like watch them and monitor them for like a couple months or a couple years just to make sure that they're not doing anything that could hurt us.
Out of all the other refugees that we have let in, how many of them have become like terrorists?
Well, there have been 93 attacks since 9/11. I didn't really find on how many there are specifically. I just know that there are 93 attacks. So.
Shouldn't Syria try to fix their problems instead of like running away?
I think that's what they're like trying to do, but if you're like a wife and kids, there's not much you can do in the middle of a war to like try to make your country better, and you can't really stop rebels unless you try to kill all of them, and that's just morally wrong. So.
All right, John?